and we were giving it to him for a year through that whole process. It was working great for him, and here we were looking for a niche. And one day my wife just looked at the bottle and said, well, what about this stuff? And it had never occurred to us to even think about that. And so I called the manufacturer, and fortunately they had a good program, a good wholesale program that would allow us to buy in small quantities so we could get started and at very reasonable prices so that we could mark it up and make a reasonable amount of money. And so I ordered one case, which was 12 bottles of this product, and I made a little website, 3 or 4 pages, and I optimized it. I used what I learned about SEO, optimized it for that product, and it was a very, for the brand name of that product, of course. Fortunately, I knew enough not to go with glucosamine or dog arthritis, but I optimized for that specific product's name. And in about 3 or 4 weeks, I got an email from PayPal, we made a sale. And I have to tell you, that probably, whenever I looked and tried to figure out where it came from, I looked on Google, and I hadn't been doing that every day. I really didn't expect it to happen. But I was on the first page of Google for that term, for that obscure product term. The first page, we made a sale, and the rest is really history with that, and that's what really got us going. But it was just right there on our kitchen cabinet the whole time. It was just, and that's what I tell my students now, that 99 times out of 100, the niche they need to be in is in their life right now. They just need to see it, or it's in a close relatives, or it's somewhere right around in their life. It's right there. You don't have to go online searching keyword tools and so forth, trying to find a good niche. It's right there in front of you, because the ones that you're most familiar with, the products and the circumstances that you're most familiar with, that's what makes your niche. I tell my students that I can't pick your niche for you because I don't know you. You might like scuba diving. I don't know anything about scuba diving. That could be your niche in some area there, but that's how we found ours. It was right there in front of us all the time.
Yeah, and that's like the exact thing an entrepreneur is. They find a need and they fill it. I mean, it's as simple as that for what an entrepreneur is.
Yeah, we usually take these things for granted. So I think that advice that you give your students is really good, because you're right. It's good to look for those things that are already part of our daily lives or part of the daily lives of those around us, because then we're probably either already familiar with it or readily can become familiar with it. And that's just going to increase our chances of success. And I like that you said, a niche is not going to necessarily be found in the keyword tools. I mean, the keyword tools might help you refine it, but people do get so hung up on the tool of, if I just knew the right way to use the keyword tool, if I just knew the numbers I had to look for. But no, it really does come back to looking around you and kind of changing your mindset in such a way that, it's going to show up in front of you. You're going to be like, oh wow, there it is. Let's give that a go. And do you remember what it felt like when you got that first sale of your product?
I will. When I got the sale, that was cool. But the really cool part was whenever I was figuring out where it came from, how they found us. And that's when I did the search in Google, and I just typed in the search term, and there was my page on the first page of Google. I forget, maybe 6th or 7th place. That was cool, because I knew from that point on I had this deal figured out.
Right.
Because then I knew how it worked. I didn't pay for that advertising. It was free. And since then, we haven't paid for any advertising. All of that retail site is still going, and we're still selling the glucosamine. We did ramp it up to about 20 products at one time, but we have really tapered it off. We have changed over to affiliate products just because of shipping issues, and we just want more freedom than the shipping was allowing us. But we were up to about 20 products, so we just kept that same process of finding those related, people that had dogs with arthritis. Well, they have other dog issues too. And so we kept adding those kind of products, and that's how we did it. But I want to make the point here that I think a lot of beginners just don't grasp this concept. They look in those tools and look for hot topics on eBay, and look for what people are looking for and think they need to get into something like that because that's what everybody's looking for. Well, we quit 2 really good jobs for Western Oklahoma. Oklahoma teachers don't make as much as some teachers, but we quit 2 really good jobs off of a search term, actually 2 products that were both dog arthritis products, but 99.99% of the people out there have never heard of these products.
Yeah.
I optimized for those terms because there are enough people out there that knew the products and were looking for cheaper products or places to buy them. We didn't optimize for dog arthritis. We optimized for that product name. And I could say the names right now, and nobody in your audience would have ever heard of those names.
Right.
I just bet you. And yet we quit 2 full-time jobs by 2007. We had both quit our jobs by 2007 over optimizing for words that nobody's ever heard of that's listening to this right now.
Right. The the search engine optimization and free traffic is, I'm sure a lot of people are itching to hear more about that. And we do want to ask you a little bit more about that, but I want to talk just a little more about this niche thing, because I know there's a lot of listeners who either A, are stuck on finding their first niche ever, or B, I love how you talked how you took the first niche and then you just, that huge confident boost. You're like, look, I've got this. I just need to keep at it. It's going to work. And then from there, you just kept sidestepping and finding other needs in the same market. But let's back up to the person, that advice you gave of look around in your own life. Do you have a couple tips you could give as to help anybody listening to this that might help them flag or notice those things in their life when they might go, oh, that might be worth giving a try? Is there any advice that you've given to your students?
Well, I would definitely say look for areas where you spend money, or look for areas where other people are spending money. Maybe it's a relative of yours that is buying something, especially on a regular basis. We fortunately got into a niche where people give it on a regular basis, and so over half of our customers right now are returning customers, and
right.
So that was a really good idea. So look for areas where people spend money, not so much where they're looking for information, because there's not a lot of money to be made there. But if it's an area where they spend money, I really look for that. You can optimize for something that's an information site, maybe put some AdSense on there, but that's not where the real money is. Really. Now, an AdSense site that's devoted to a specific product brand name that people are looking for and ready to buy, that's where you want to look for. And there's all kinds of those areas in our lives where we spend money on a regular basis, so definitely look there first. And then, secondly, look for one that you kind of have a passion for, because this is going to take many hours of work. You're going to have to sit there and write content. You're going to have to build web pages. You're going to have to spend a lot of time on this. And if you don't have a little bit of passion for it, if you're not really interested in it very much and you're just in it to make the money, then it's going to be difficult to stay motivated. Like for our old dog, we were very passionate about helping him.
Right.
And we wanted to share that. And so something you have some passion for. So one, something you can make that people buy, spend money on, and secondly, something you have a little bit of interest or passion in.